Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion. Shout out to my Boost in Foreign fans. Much love. I appreciate both of you guys. Listen, I'm posting this emergency video on both my YouTube channels. Guys, we have something that could astronomically affect us. So let's just jump into it real quickly. All right, and go.
5% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff.
We expect that these tariffs will result in over $100 billion of new annual revenue to the United States of America in tariff revenue.
I think ultimately we could probably anywhere from $600 billion to $1 trillion will be taken in over the relatively short-term period, meaning a year from now.
Can I ask you about tariffs, Mr. President? On the car tariffs, how do you assure that the car coming into the country is fully built? Could an automaker in Germany say, leave the tires off a car?
We're going to have very strong policing, and it's pretty easy to do. If parts are made in America and a car isn't, those parts are not going to be taxed or tariffed. And we'll have very strong policing as far as that's concerned. But this is very exciting to me. This is the automobile industry, and this will continue to spur growth like you haven't seen. Before I was elected, we were losing all of our plants. They were being built in Mexico and Canada and other places. Now those plants largely have stopped, and they're moving them to our country.
Are there any conditions under which you'd remove these auto tariffs, sir, or is this permanent for the rest of your term in office?
Oh, this is permanent, yeah, 100%, yeah. And what we're going to be doing,
You guys heard it.
25%.
You guys heard it. That last words was the most impactful words. He stated that this is going to be permanent for the rest of his presidency. Now, no matter what color you vote for, red or blue, no matter what race of color you are, sex, gender, whatever it is, right? We're talking about car world stuff here. This is people who are in the car world. How is this going to affect us? Let's quickly go through this article. I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion while we go through it and or at the end. But you know what? Let me just say my 2 cents first before I go into it, right? I am actually a little scared about this. Hear me out, because I know some of you guys are political. I'm actually very political, and I know a lot more than you guys think I know, right? I understand the implication of I understand how we got here. I don't want to talk about how we got here from the last 12, 16, 20 years when it comes to NAFTA. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into the Mexico, Canada, and U.S. trade thing. I'm not, because I know how we got here already. I understand American history. Now, how are we going to move with this new administration and this new president moving forward? Because we don't have control of this. What's going to happen now, right? We all know that in America, a lot of our automotive industry was sent overseas because of cheaper labor, period. That's all it is. It's all about profits. Cheaper labor and cheaper to get stuff done with less regulations and restrictions. That's all it is. That's why most of the business went other places. That's it. We don't have to go back and forth about that. What he is stating now is, hey, listen, there's a tax. You won't get these tariffs, which is a form of a tax, right? Or an after tax, by moving your businesses back into America. If you move it back into America, then we won't affect your profit margins because you went overseas to keep your profits high, right? To get the cheaper labor. But if you bring it here, there won't be any tariffs. So these big businesses, these CEOs have to look at it and say, I could continue doing business overseas in these other countries, especially Mexico, because they have plants in Mexico where they assemble these vehicles and then bring it into America, right? And or this also includes automotive parts too. So if you move your factories, your assembly centers back into America, there won't be any tariffs. I know I'm being circular, but that's what it is, right? There won't be this 25% charge. Tariff has always existed on our imported goods, no matter what. And we export to other countries, and they charge tariffs too. Now, no matter if you want to go through the list of countries that tariff us a very small percentage compared to other countries who tariff us a very large percentage, at the end of the day, this is a blanket tariff. So if you have a BMW and it's made overseas, of course, they build it in over there. They send it over here. That astronomically is going to affect the car market because that's a new car purchase. So that 100K G80 M3, that 2025, 2026, is now going to be $125,000. Now, will people still go and choose to buy that car? Yes, if they have the money, but they're paying a tax. So some people, you know what this is? So I'm not even going through the list. I just know stuff off my head. So now you know what's going to happen to the used car market. People might sit there and say, you know what? Let me buy up the ones right now that are on the lots because they're here. But the ones that are coming off the boats now moving forward will get slapped with that tariff. That's another $25,000. So the used car market now, people might say, you know what? Buying that slightly used G80 M3 might be a lot, and that's still under warranty, but will be a lot more cost effective than me paying a 25% surcharge to get something brand new spanking off the lot. Now, this is supposed to revitalize the American. This is supposed to. Let me explain it this way. It's supposed to allow the American car industry to be able to, once again, they have to bring their industry back into America also. But for the plants that are here, now guess what? They actually, it's kind of supposed to force our people, right, Americans, to go and purchase American cars or American made cars. American made. I mean, Americans made the car, no matter if it's a Toyota, a BMW, or a Toyota, BMW, or a Ford, right? That's what it is. American made, not American, and American manufactured, but not American car company. The same thing for our parts. A lot of our parts are from Temu and all these other random companies, and I hate to say it, AutoZone and all these companies, they don't make their parts here. They come from overseas. That's how they can cost cut. That's why if you want, let's say, a brake pad from America, it's going to cost a little bit more from a brake pad from China because it's just way cheaper for them to do it in China, send it back over here, and then still undercut the one that's American made. It just can't compete. It's supposed to allow the American manufacturers and American made companies to be able to suffice, even if that American made company is, like, let's say, just made in America, even though it's a company from overseas. That's all it is. They want to bring jobs back. They want people to be able, they want our companies to be able to flourish again. What's the point of, when it comes to this manufacturing, right? It doesn't mean because it's sent overseas that we lose the jobs, but those jobs just go somewhere else, right? Think about the idea of work from home. It was a great idea in the last 5 years, but now it's not a great idea anymore because now if I'm a business owner, for the people who are business owners, you're thinking to yourself, am I gonna pay this guy $25 an hour to do my clerical work and he lives in New York City, or I can pay somebody $3 an hour, right? That lives in this more underprivileged country, right? I don't have to provide him certain benefits and certain I don't have to provide him a certain type of American workers' rights because he lives over there. I'm not saying he goes above wrong, there's anything wrong with them, but there's certain things that when you're born in America and you live in America and you work in America that that company has to provide you. But because I hire him as a contractor way over there, it's easier for me. Any business wants to increase their profit. That's how businesses are, no matter if it's from a car company to a medical company. This is all, in my personal opinion, trying their best to bring back jobs and bring it here. Now, we'll sit there and say it as consumers, oh my God, now I have to spend more on my brand new car. Here's the thing. No one told you to go buy a brand new car. And I'm sorry, that's capitalism, right? This is all capitalism. But no one put a gun to your head and told you got to go buy a brand new car. If you can afford it, you can afford it. If you can go on a lot and smack and get a brand new Infiniti Q50 or QX55, what they're bringing out now, whatever, or 65, whatever crap it is that I'm mad at, the soccer mom car, right? You can go and afford that. Well, guess what? Now it's going to be a 25% surcharge on it. Now you're going to sit there and think, damn, I wanted a brand new car. You might need to go get the 2024 one with the V6, not the 4-cylinder turbo, because that 4-cylinder turbo is trash. Get it with 3,000 miles on the dash. Ooh. But the negative parts, in my personal opinion here, because I know I've been talking, y'all paying me attention, right? I think what's gonna happen now, I should have made the video a little bigger, is I think the bad effect about this is the first thing that's popping up in my head is, of course, the price of used cars are gonna go up because people are now gonna choose to not purchase new cars. They're just gonna choose to purchase the slightly pre-owned ones. So the used car market is now going to jump because those cars are going to look a lot more affordable than the brand new ones that are from a year ago that are already on the lot. That's number one. Number two, if the prices of used cars are going up, of course the price of new cars are going up, which I said a little earlier. People gonna may end up spending another $16,000 on top of it just because they can afford it, but now they're paying extra for the car. That can affect car insurance prices and the prices of the vehicles and gap insurance. I don't know how that may work out. So let's say the car is $50,000, right? A 25% charge will be what, another 12.5 on top of it. So it'll be a $63,000 car. Now, just 3 months ago, the car was only worth 50. So if you buy it off the lot for 62 and crash it, is the car really worth 62,000? Is it really worth 62,000 or is it really worth 50? How is gap insurance and these companies going to look at that when it comes to that? Are they going to now is that now going to crash the market where, for instance, you buy that car for 63,000 and then you try to trade it in a year later, and that earlier model, because it was purchased at 50,000, is only worth 43 or 44, but then the tariffs made it 63 now because it was 2 months later. How is that going to affect the prices of the cars? Is it now going to go up, or is it going to drop $15,000, $20,000? How is it going to work with insurance? I'm very confused in how this is actually going to look. The same thing for car parts. Now, a lot of people who are underprivileged and low income people, right, including myself, right? How is that going to affect us, right? The other day, I'm looking to buy Q50 rotors, sport rotors. I've been trying to find rotors for like $25, $30 per corner. Can't find it. Ended up caving in and ended up getting rotors off of I think eBay or Amazon. Sport rotors, the cheapest I can find. They're not. I don't think they're zinc coated, for about $120. So that's $60 a corner. Now, if this was imported from somewhere else, that's another 25% that could have been added on that. So that could be another $30. That's $150. So now products are getting a little bit more expensive, and people are going to maintain their cars. They like usually the cheaper option. I don't know if that was an American-made company, but I saw way more expensive rotors from other brands. That was like $170, $200 for the two. So I don't know if those are American companies or not, but if that cheapest company was from China or overseas, now it pushes up the prices where now, yes, I get it. It's more competitive now because you make the more cheaper option have to compete with the option that's made here. So people can choose, but it kind of, once again, us as consumers, we end up paying that tax, unfortunately, you know. Ultimately, when somebody wrote in somebody's comment, wrote in somebody's post, they were saying that people who are importing cars, right? Let's say you want to import a Supra or R34 GTR, right, from overseas. You're already spending so much money in duty tax and import tax. Now another 25% on it. People might actually choose not to buy those cars, or it just makes the market go more expensive. And most people's cars probably just got a little bit more, might have gained some more value. We don't know the numbers yet. We don't see how it's going to work. But if the fact that he said this is going to stay here worries me. So the last thing I would say, well, I'm going to go to Chat GPT because I actually want to see what their opinion is, right? See if I'm right. I just want to see how this is going to affect the market. I don't know what's going to happen here. And when it comes to numbers in finance, like, we have to see, it's all based on the person's behavior and how they spend money. If they spend money as if they got it, this is just going to be, people going to pay for what they want. Remember, people overpaid for Kia Tellurides because it was a shortage, but now 2 to 3 years later, right? They're under water $30,000 to $40,000. They paid $80,000, $90,000 for a $50,000 truck. People are doing that. G63 Mercedes was selling for $300K. They were marked up almost $100,000. You know how much you see all those YouTubers that are talking about how much these people are over. People ended up getting screwed. The people who made the most money with these dealerships and the people who have to live with these L's are the consumers. I'm sorry, I can't feel sorry for someone who overpaid $100,000 for a G63. I put my E63 at the highest part of the what you call it, and I was supposed to unload it in 9 months, but I ended up still keeping it. Right, I didn't think it was going to appreciate that much, so I lost about 15 to 18K on that car. Now that's a small, but that's an E63 Mercedes. I can't imagine going to on a lot and buying like a brand new Dodge Ram, and then now it has now worth to $40,000 less because I overpaid for it. At least I was in a Benz. These guys was in a Dodge Ram with cloth seats, you know. But even a G63 losing 100 grand is insane, you know. So I'm gonna bring up Chat GPT. I had actually posted a question to it, and I want to see if it was hitting right. I'd asked it. Trump places. Let me see. Give me a second, guys. I said Trump. Let me just move my face out the way. I said Trump. Give me a second. Yeah, Trump places 25% tariff on auto imports. Lists all the ways. I misspelled ways. Sorry, guys. It will affect the car market from part to car sales. New car prices will increase. Imported cars from Europe, Japan, Korea will see spike hikes to compensate for the tariffs. Automakers may pass the cost to consumers, making foreign brands significantly more expensive. Domestic automakers that rely on foreign parts may also see a rise in prices. Two, used car prices surge. Once again, I didn't read this. I typed this in. I didn't even look at this yet, but I already freaking knew this stuff. With the new imports becoming more expensive, more buyers will turn to the used car market, driving up demand and prices. Lease returns and certified pre-owned vehicles will be in higher demand. You see what I'm saying? Those lease returns and certified pre-owned are still under warranty. They're about to go up in price, right? Domestic automakers benefit. Detroit's big three, Ford, GM, and Stellantis, could see a boost as their sales become relatively cheaper compared to imports. Some consumers may shift to American brands to avoid paying a premium on imports. You see what I'm saying? So let's just say let's be fair here. Let's say BMW has imports their cars, but let's just say Audi has a manufacturing facility here. So now that BMW went up 25%. So people might actually go look at the Audi and be like, why the Audi didn't go up? Audi's still the same price. Let me just go buy the Audi. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't have to raise their prices because their cars are manufactured. They don't have a tariff. So they might go to buy a 340, and 340 might be like $80,000. So they're like, why? This is a $56,000 car, right? Or a $61,000 car. They'll go and buy an A4. I forgot which A4. What would it be? It'll be S4, whatever. They might go and buy S4. I don't know if they even still make S4s, but you guys get what I'm saying. Auto parts come more expensive. Many used made cars rely on imported components, engines, transmissions, electronics. The tariff increases costs, which will pass down to consumers. That's another thing. If your car has parts that may be an issue, right? That might be an issue, right? Let's say, what's one of the biggest things we were just talking about right now with the Infinities, right? The Infinities, they have technically a kind of a recall on their turbos. So if they're not making the turbos here, now the company Infinity, even though it's under warranty, now Infinity has to spend even more to import those from there. That may make them actually change up their warranty, where it sits there and says, hey, they either might become a lot more strict on changing these turbos, or they might get rid of this warranty. Well, they already put it in place, so they're not gonna take it back. So I'll use a different example. Let's just use a Benz. Let's just say it's a Benz. They used to have this coil pack issue, right? So if the coil pack goes down, they have to wait for the coil pack to come from Germany. Well, guess what? That coil pack now went up 25%. So now you're gonna have to spend more money waiting for the coil. You have to wait for the coil pack, and you have to spend more money on that coil pack. And those coil packs are very expensive. Um, Independent repair shops and DIY car enthusiasts will face higher costs for replacement parts. Brands like BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, Ferrari, Toyota, Lexus will struggle with higher prices. Fewer sales and could lead to job cuts as dealerships that specialize in luxury imports. 6. Foreign automakers may shift production. Some companies may try to move production to North America to bypass tariffs. Toyota, Honda, BMW expanded to U.S. factories. Others may cut production or delay investment in the U.S. market. Remember, some auto manufacturers don't really have to come here, like don't have to try to bring cars here. And we know the BMW M5 wagon's supposed to come here. Now it's going to have a 25% tariff. That sucks, right? Car dealerships and supply chain faces disruption. Dealerships that depend on imported brands will struggle with higher prices and potential lower sales. Supply chain issues could arise if manufacturers reduce shipment due to cost concerns. You see what they can do to now. Dealers now can actually inflate the price a lot more than they need to. They can make an artificial shortage. For instance, same thing with the M4s, right? Because of pandemic or whatever we dealt with. What happened there was we had a shortage of cars, people were overpaying, and people were willing to overpay. Now, if you can sit there and say, listen, car prices have went up and we have to reduce the amount of shortage because it costs us a lot of money. Now the car could turn from 120, 125. It might go up to 140 now. Just because, but once again, I can't feel bad for someone who wants to pay $40,000 extra for a G80 M3. That's on them. They being stupid because they got the bread though. But 2 years later, look what happened with most of those people in all different kind of type of markets. How much they overpaid, including myself. Auto loan and finance costs could rise. With higher car prices, you see what I'm saying? Buyers may need larger loans, leading to increased monthly payments. Interest rates could rise as banks access higher risk due to markets uncertainty. That's what I was saying. Gap insurance may be different now, and insurance may be different in the car payments. So one car is worth 50, the next one now is worth 63, and in the same year. How is that going to affect the market? Especially with parts and repair. High performance cars, which are often imported, will become more expensive. JDM domestic market imports and European sports cars and exotic cars will see massive price increases. That's what I'm saying. So the person who might have imported an R34 for 25 for 30, let's say $30,000 or 40, let's say 50,000. Let's just make it an easy number for $50,000. Now the next one coming is going to have a 25% surcharge on it. So now that one's going to be worth 62, 63. He got his car over here for 50. It's already over here. So now automatically he could raise his car from $50,000 to about 60. Because it's like, hey, listen, you can either import one for 62 or you can buy mine for 60. Which would you rather pay for it? See what I'm saying? So instantly, anyone who has a certain car here, it goes up in value because you might not be able to get it because of the rarity of it. Retaliatory tariffs from other countries. Countries affected by tariff, Germany, Japan, may impose their own tariffs on U.S. vehicles, hurting American exports. This could hurt the American-made vehicles that are sold internationally, Ford Mustangs in Europe. At the end of the day, guess what? Europe and UK, they don't really care about American cars. You barely see them, so I don't even care about this part, right? They don't care about their cars. The reason why a lot of these European cars and German cars have all this electric crap in it is because they're pushing this electrified future for themselves and they want to reduce emissions. That's why they made these cars 4 cylinders with 1 turbo and a bunch of electric motors on it. That's why C63 wasn't selling and all these electrified cars are not selling. I mean, hybrid vehicles over there that are high performance are not selling. Talking about they coming out with a M3, electric M3. And look what Dodge went to go do with their stupid Charger EV. No one's going to. All I'm saying is inflationary pressures on transportation industry. Commercial fleets and businesses that rely on imported vehicles may face higher costs. Rideshare companies, delivery service, and rental car companies may raise their prices. Bottom line, while domestic automakers may see a short-term benefit, the long-term effects could be harmful. Higher costs, disrupting supply chains, decline in consumer affordability. The used car market and domestic brands might benefit, but repair costs, enthusiast communities, and luxury sales will take a hit. Yes, I was cooking, guys. So ultimately, we live in a capitalist country. America's capitalist, and no matter what, capitalism is all around the world. Even though some countries do socialism and all that other stuff, guess what? Over here, we are a capitalist society, and all countries somehow are affected by this, and they are affected by us, no matter what. So because we're the American consumers, our pockets may be stretched more. It may be, but you have a choice on what you want to spend your money at. You don't have to go buy the brand new black Dodge Ram. No, there's plenty of Dodge Rams sitting on the lots right now, right? You don't have to if you can choose. I hate to say it like this, because people who have money, this is not going to really affect them as much. They're just going to choose to either pick the slightly used option or what's already here rather than wait for something that's going to cost 25% more. When it comes to capitalism, people who have money, this is just this, they got it. But for people like us, the lower income and middle class, this is going to affect us a lot more because, as they said, The used car prices will probably go up, but it takes a little while. There will be a lag here. We're not going to see the effects of this until the next 6 months to a year. It's going to take some time, and it happened during tax season. So right now, I don't expect nothing in the first next from for the next quarter. I think it's going to be pretty much chilled, quiet in the used car market, but as sooner or later, it's going to jump. Give it some time. Unless that's why Trump and his administration wants to lower the interest rates, because if you lower the interest rates, it won't be as much of a big jump in your car payments. But we really don't know what's going to happen here. In my honest personal opinion, for the people watching that on politics or not, who are into finance or not, when it comes to numbers, we needed a reset. Period. The market should have fell and stayed down. We shouldn't have had the federal government bailing out the stock market. We should have let companies that are crappy fail and let them fail. Period. And build up from there when money is real money. None of this inflationary BS that we're doing. We're stimulating the market and we're taking money out the market. Okay. But we're doing too much this back and forth. The only way to lower prices when it comes to my general opinion, is you have to have more production. Period. That's how you bring down inflation. You have to make more production. If you make enough products that are on the shelves, there won't be enough. There'll be enough there where demand will go down. Prices will need to go down. But if you make just enough where you can consider to say that that's not that much production, that's why the prices keep going up. And that's why I believe most of this stuff is inflationary and it's all artificial, because these companies are caring about their profits because they can produce more eggs, with the exception of the bird flu, but they can produce more eggs. There's enough cars on the lot, but they're choosing not to. Mercedes, BMW, and Audi already admitted that they're going to limit production in the last 3 years, because they said, what's the point of having cars sit on the lot when we could reduce it and then get people to pay over for it and pay asking price? Period. This is all capitalism, everybody that's watching. It's all capitalism. Watch your money. Watch your money. So outside that, guys, you have a good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you for my rain. Thank you to my Boost in Motion family that really bang with me. Shout out to my Boost in Foreigns family. I really appreciate you guys banging out with me. We definitely hit 1,000 subscribers. For the people who are in the Boost in Motion channel, I got a second channel called Boost in Foreigns. That's where I put most of my Mercedes, Infiniti, and BMW content. And my Boost in Foreigns family, yeah, I've been doing this YouTube thing for a while. Go check out my Boost in Motion channel. It's mostly Nissan and Infinitis. I used to be deep into the Q50 world, and I actually got a second car, which is a Q50, which I'm going to boost. Oh, wrong word. Boost. So you guys, I appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Thank you.